Greetings. This is Ann Scotto Adams. I'm the Executive Director of the Strategic National Arts Alumni Project. We go by SNAAP because that is a mouthful. I am here with my colleague, Christian Folk. He's the Assistant Director of Research Services. Say hi, Christian.
Hi, everyone.
And we're presenting today on Creative Futures, Understanding Arts Alumni Experiences and Trajectories through SNAAP Pulse. So we're excited to be here and to tell you about this newest research initiative for SNAAP. And I think you'll find our insights through our survey efforts to be of great interest. So thanks again. So what is SNAAP? So SNAAP gathers, analyzes, and reports on survey data from post-secondary arts and design alumni to understand their professional success, educational satisfaction, and personal fulfillment. We work with the participating post-secondary institutions to get their alumni contact information. And then we administer this survey on their behalf to all of their living arts and design alumni. We then take all of their responses, clean the data, and plug them all into these reports, and then provide the institutions with these reports with their responses. Between 2008 and 2022, SNAAP has conducted 9 surveys, and since then, we've surveyed over 300,000 arts alumni. The next large-scale SNAAP survey will be administered in 2027. So what do institutions do with this data? Well, they use the SNAAP data for a variety of purposes: alumni, donor, and outreach, recruitment, program and curricular change, planning, assessment, and advocacy efforts. SNAAP is really the first national survey to focus on arts alumni, their degree experiences, and their careers in a more granular sense, not just outcomes, financial outcomes. And we go beyond these traditional survey models to really seek to understand educational experiences of arts and design graduates. So just to clarify, when I say the arts, it's very broad. We include architecture, arts administration, arts history, arts therapy, creative writing, dance, design, film, media arts, music, theater, all the visual arts, all the performing arts. So when I say arts and design, it is inclusive of all of those areas of study. We currently run 2 research initiatives. So this large-scale national survey that I just spoke about. And then our newest initiative is called SNAAP Pulse, and it's a one-of-a-kind, invitation-only survey of arts and design alumni. And Christian, if you want to go to the next slide. So what makes SNAAP unique? Well, as I said, we go beyond the traditional outcome survey models and seek to get a more granular understanding of an arts alumni's experiences during their education, but also in their career and their lives, understanding their professional satisfaction. And we are really a vital source, and in many cases, the only source of arts alumni data available to institutions offering some kind of credential in arts and design, especially for schools without a data collection capacity. These survey results really provide academic leaders with the data that they need to drive curricular innovation, decision-making, and change. We also share the data widely. It's part of our mission. We share the data with the field in general. We share the data with researchers. The data has informed thousands of scholarly insights on arts alumni and the creative workforce. You can browse hundreds of reports on our website, snaparts.org. And our full database is available on the National Archive of Data on Arts and Culture, also known as NADAC. So you can access the data there. And you can advance, Christian. Great. So our newest initiative is called SNAAP Pulse. And as I mentioned, it's a one-of-a-kind invitation-only survey of arts and design alumni. And panelists or respondents who serve on this panel are selected from a known population. So this group is made up of about 40,000 arts and design graduates who previously completed the National SNAAP survey in 2022 and indicated a willingness to be contacted by us again in the future. So the design is quite simple. We administer 6 short topic-driven surveys per year, And four of those surveys annually are longitudinal. So we ask the same questions to the same arts alumni year over year. And in doing this, we can really track changes over time and identify trends. There is no other data collection effort like this tracking arts and design alumni on an ongoing longitudinal basis. So we're pretty excited because broader societal changes can be investigated through SNAAP Pulse. The design is quick, nimble, flexible. We can put surveys out into the field and get a very quick turnaround. And then the data collected from SNAAP Pulse really supports the participating institutions, but it also supports, more broadly speaking, research and policy development by academic institutions, nonprofit organizations, foundations, government agencies, and officials, and other policy focused stakeholders. So I think, yes, great. Thanks, Christian. So we launched SNAAP Pulse in May. So we're coming last May. So we're coming up on a year of being in the field. And for our first Pulse survey, we received consent from over 5,000 individuals to be part of the SNAAP Pulse panel. We also received consent to connect their 2022 survey data and permission to text surveys, which we were never previously able to do. So it's kind of a big deal for SNAP. And connecting 2022 survey data is a big deal because we're able to send these short topic-driven surveys knowing that we already know everything we need to know about the background of these individuals. So we know the year they graduated, we know their area of study, we have all their demographic information. So it really makes the data we collect through SNAAP Pulse all the more valuable and impactful. The sample represents 118 institutions, and the sample itself has very diverse characteristics, including a diversity of area of study, gender, race, ethnicity, graduation year, and region. And then of those who responded, 84% are employed, including full-time and self-employed. And then 57% are employed full-time in the arts. So a little more than half of our sample is actually working in a creative field. 12% of respondents reported not being in the workforce. So for those of you who are interested, you can read more about our methodology and our technical report, and it's linked on the SNAAP Pulse website. I think I mentioned surveys are short, they're topic driven, they take no more than 10 minutes to complete, and we offer incentives every time we send a survey. So we pay our arts alumni for their time in taking the survey. And I think we can go on. Yeah, and I mentioned we had geographical diversity. So you'll see here our alumni panelists are spread out pretty evenly throughout the 50 states. We also have international representation on the panel with about 13% of respondents living abroad. So you can move on, Christian. Great. So in our initial outreach to these SNAAP Pulse panelists, we asked the following question: what challenges do you currently face in your work? And alumni respondents noted, you can see what they noted in this word cloud, but AI, funding, and government were the top three responses to that question by our respondents. The word AI appeared in at least 9.4% of responses, funding a little bit less than that, in government about 7.5% of the responses. So these are sort of the top issues that arts and design alumni felt were impacting their work. You can move on, Christian. Great. So the topic of AI in work. I'm going to hand this over to my colleague Christian, and he is going to tell you a little bit about this topical survey and give you some of the results from the survey, which is very exciting. Thanks, Christian.
Yeah, thanks, Leanne. So, as Leanne was mentioning, no other large-scale survey right now is asking arts alumni about these issues, specifically about the role of AI in creative work. And so SNAAP Pulse is really perfectly positioned to do this survey work. Um, so given the responsive nature of Pulse, we're able to pivot really quickly and address priorities of the sample, which you saw in the previous word cloud. AI was identified as a top challenge and concern faced by arts alumni. And we also want to make sure that institutions are able to adapt to better serve their students and prepare them to be AI ready for the workforce. And so this pulse data can really inform institutions about how their instruction needs to adapt to better serve their students. We're also hoping to inform the broader field and policy at the intersection of arts and AI. There's a lot of conversation about integrating arts and design perspectives into the AI conversation, and this data will help do that. Um, and as folks are graduating and going into the workforce in this age of AI, art students and arts alumni need to be equipped to engage creatively and critically with AI technologies. So we had to be really careful developing the AI and work survey because not all of the sample were working in the arts. So to design the questionnaire, we scanned a number of surveys on AI and work to understand kind of general areas of interest across all different types of workforces. And then we identified specific areas that would be of relevance to arts alumni. So not necessarily those working in cultural fields, but that would still be relevant to our population. And then we started drafting the survey items. So this survey, it's pretty short, as Leanne mentioned, but we wanted to see how AI was influencing the work of our respondents, their perceptions and use of AI, how it affects their workflow, the professional opportunities that they're seeing because of the current AI uses, and the challenges that they're facing with AI. So as Leanne said, we will send these same questions once per year to the same sample to follow how their perceptions and experiences are changing over time. So these are just some of the questions that we asked. We asked, have you ever used Gen AI at home or in your work? Would you like to use AI more in your work? Compared to 12 months ago, how has the time you spend using Gen AI in your work changed? What tools have you used? And some other questions about various types of AI work. So this slide highlights a few key findings that we found from our first SNAAP Pulse survey, which was focused on AI and work. So first, about 52% of respondents reported using generative AI in a professional context. So we're seeing that AI is already being embedded in the workflows of many arts and design alumni across a range of fields, both those working in arts and those not in the arts. But at the same time, adoption is not universal. About one-third of respondents reported never using Gen AI either at home or at work. And so this is telling us that the arts workforce is navigating a kind of mixed landscape where some individuals are integrating these tools regularly while others have not engaged with them yet. We also asked about concerns related to AI. Around 80% of respondents expressed concerns about issues like environmental impacts and the accuracy of AI generated content. And so, even among people and respondents who use AI, there's a strong awareness of kind of the broader ethical and environmental questions surrounding these technologies. And then when we look specifically at how AI is being used, one of the most common uses was drafting text. About 60% of AI users reported that they use those tools for writing related tasks. So this can be things like generating emails, developing grant proposals, initial versions of creative or administrative texts, and other writing uses. And then finally, about 45% of AI users reported that they use these tools for increased output or productivity. So while there are some concerns about AI, many respondents are also finding practical benefits in terms of efficiency and workflow. And so, taken together, these findings suggest that AI is already influencing how arts alumni work, but that's a very complex relationship. So, there's both experimentation with newer tools, along with ongoing concern about AI's broader impact on the arts. So, this slide, just to get a little more granular in one of the questions that we asked respondents, we asked them several statements about AI and how much they agreed with that statement. So the first thing that stands out is the top concerns are not about job replacement, but they're about trust, ethics, and professional implications. So the statement with the highest agreement at 90% was skepticism about the quality or accuracy of AI generated output. So even among respondents who use AI, there's still a high level of caution about relying on it without human oversight. The second highest concern, 86%, was about security and privacy. So many arts professionals work with proprietary materials and client information, and their own creative intellectual property. So questions about how AI tools handle data are very significant in the arts field right now. Environmental impact also emerged as a major issue, with 83% expressing concern about the environmental cost of AI technologies, which kind of aligns with broader conversations happening across many workforce sectors about the energy demands of AI systems. And then beyond those issues, respondents also raised concerns about creative identity and authenticity. We also see some uncertainty around copyright and intellectual property. And then some other concerns about income, professional judgment from others, and potential job replacement. But those rank further down on the list than these concerns that are at the top. So overall, the findings kind of point to arts alumni not solely worried about being replaced by AI, but grappling with deeper questions about trust, authorship, ethics, and the integrity of creative work in an AI environment. So, while AI emerged as one of the most visible issues facing arts alumni, it was not the only theme that appeared in that first Pulse survey. Another major area that surfaced was financial stability and the broader support systems that make creative careers possible. So, for the second topical survey, we decided to explore supports and safety nets for arts graduates. So, financial stability continues to shape the professional lives and decisions of many arts alumni. Careers in the arts often involve freelance work, project-based employment, fluctuating income, which means that financial resources and support systems play a significant role in how people sustain their work over a longer period of time. So when we looked at the open-ended responses in the survey, funding and access to financial supports was the second highest recurring theme in open-ended responses. So alumni talked about challenges securing funding, navigating inconsistent income streams, identifying resources that could help stabilize their careers, and other comments related to funding and supports. So because of this, we also want to place a greater emphasis for post-secondary arts programs to um, adapt and place a greater emphasis on financial literacy, career resilience, and awareness of available support systems for arts graduates. And so using data from initiatives like SNAAP Pulse can help institutions better prepare students for the economic realities of creative work. So we kind of shifted our focus from technology to the financial and structural conditions that shape arts careers. So to explore this topic, we developed a set of survey questions focused on financial supports and safety nets available to arts alumni. Many of the questions were adapted from previous SNAP surveys, as well as instruments used in financial well-being research. We included some work from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and other alumni surveys that are currently in the field. So we kind of use these established question frameworks, allowing us to align our findings with broader conversations about financial security and workforce stability. So the second area we focused on in this survey was supports. So we asked alumni about their ability to secure financial resources that help sustain their creative work, or any of the work that they're doing, such as loans, grants, fellowships, and other forms of funding. For many arts professionals, these kinds of supports play a very important role in launching or maintaining projects and careers, and so we thought it was very important to look at that. And then finally, we looked at safety nets, which include programs or systems that help stabilize people during periods of financial uncertainty. So this can include things like health insurance, unions, food and housing benefits, and other forms of assistance that can help artists navigate kind of fluctuating income or gaps in employment. So, taken together, these questions help us to understand how arts alumni manage financial risk and what kinds of resources help sustain their work over a longer period of time. So we're currently in the process of analyzing and creating reports and resources on the supports and safety nets data, and we will have material to share on that survey in the coming months. So I'm going to pass it back over to Leanne, who is going to talk about what's coming next for SNAP.
Great. Thanks, Christian. Yeah, I just before I get into what's on this slide, I want to say all of the data that we're collecting through our SNAP Pulse efforts is available on our website. We call the reports that we produce for these small surveys snapshots, and the data is presented through data visualization. So it's really easy to screenshot, plop into your own presentation, easy to read and digest. Um, so yeah, we are sharing these pulse insights through snapshots on a continual basis. You can find them online. We're also working with our director of research, Joanna Veronkovich, to draft two journal articles using our current AI data set that will be coming out in the next few months. We're doing something pretty exciting and new for SNAP. We're producing a documentary film on AI and its impact on creative workers. We're working with a fairly well-known documentarian filmmaker to interview arts alumni in our SNAP Pulse panel, but also more prominent and more well-known arts alumni across the United States. We're interviewing them and collecting that information, and we'll be sharing the documentary in the next month or so. And then longitudinal surveys. So yeah, like the AI and Work survey, we'll be doing that survey every single year. And so we'll be able to track those responses over time to see how use changes, perceptions change. It'll be very interesting, especially with the AI data set. And then the SNAP Pulse survey findings that Christian just explained will be online in the coming months, weeks, actually. I think there's one more slide. Oh, great. Thanks, Christian. Yeah, so here are two QR codes. One goes to the short data visualization reports that we refer to as snapshots that house the SNAP Pulse data. The other QR code is for our Arts Alumni Data Hub. This is a brand new resource. We have our data set available for public access through Tableau dashboards on our website, and the dashboards are separated by topic area. So you can actually view and manipulate the data on AI and work, alumni careers, our most recent large-scale report, alumni sense of belonging using the 2022 data set. We have findings on the impact of COVID-19 on arts alumni workers. All of that's available on our what we call our data hub. So yeah, please, scan these QR codes and check out these resources. Great. And I think this is our last slide. Here's a final QR code for our mailing list. If you're not already on our mailing list, we share all of our research on a monthly basis through this mailing list, so please join. And here's my contact information, Christian's contact information, and our Director of Research, Joanna Veronkovich, her contact information. We'd love to hear from you if you have any questions on what you've seen today in this presentation. And I hope you're having a great time at Artists Thrive 2026. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.